What is up, everyone? It is Unimium here, and today I'll be bringing you guys a little VOD review of myself versus DC that happened in Vic's Pokemon League a few weeks back. Now, before I begin, please don't forget to give some love to Vic. I'll have the link to the original video and his channel in the description below. He ran a wonderful league full of FGC players trying to get into VGC like myself, DC, Point, Burrito, the guys who were in the Elite Four. But it was a wonderful event overall. I'm super excited for Season 2, and I just wanted to throw this video out here to kind of give my thought process as to how I went about this set, because it was, like most FGC events, the finals were first to 3. So it was a lot different from normal VGC stuff where everything is first to 2. It gave the opponents more time to adapt, more time to work on leads that could position themselves around what you were doing, and it was actually really interesting. It was definitely time consuming, but it was very interesting. So I'm going to go over Game 4 and Game 5, because if I went over all 5 games, we'd be here for a while. So, in context, Game 3, I was up 2-0, and I knew what leads I needed to bring. I knew Ceruledge was kind of my ace into DC's Mons. Fluttermane died to 1 bulk up Shadow Sneak before people were running the more bulky sets, and it dealt with the Palafin really well since I was Terra Grass. So the plan was to just position around Ceruledge and Amoonguss, keep Ceruledge safe as best as I could, and make sure his Amoonguss couldn't put me to sleep with Terra Grass. But in Game 3, I got O-code by Crit Terra Water Zero Form Wave Crash, if I remember correctly, and it blew up my entire plan, and he swept me from there. So in Game 4, it was conditioning on conditioning on conditioning after that point, because I didn't want to die to Terra Water Zero Form Wave Crash, so I Terra turn 1, but then if I Terra turn 1, then he gets a free switch into Arcanine and can try to go from there. So we'll get into team selection and everything. And you can hear Vic and the other commentator going over everything. But we'll move a little forward here. I believe I end up going with Ceruledge Amoonguss, if I had to assume at least. Obviously, that's what I would go with in hindsight, because he's been leading Fluttermane Palafin, or something in Palafin, basically every single game. Yeah, Amoonguss Palafin. Yeah, so my Dragapult build in this Elite Four section of the tournament was max speed, or it was enough speed to outspeed Booster Energy Iron Bundle, enough special attack, which I believe was just max, with no modest nature, because I had to put the nature to Jolly to outspeed Booster Energy Iron Bundle, but I gave it enough special attack to give it a 90% chance to KO Iron Bundle, because my entire thing was built around people playing Iron Bundle, since in Series 2 it and Fluttermane were 2 of the most popular Mons, and I felt like Ceruledge gave me game against Fluttermane, so I needed something to deal with Iron Bundle. Picking a Dragon type is a little weird, but I felt like Dragapult was a really good shout into it. So I knew immediately I needed the Amoonguss to die. So the issue was my Flamethrower wasn't really doing much. Flamethrower, I think, actually Stab, because it wasn't Stab, so Flamethrower didn't do much into Amoonguss, because Amoonguss is bulky everywhere, so going for Draco Meteor Bitter Blade might have KO'd on the double up. But the issue at that point is if Palafin goes for a Wave Crash or something and I don't Terra, Then Cerulege goes down, and I don't have a lot to do against Fluttermane. Yeah, and like Vic mentions here, DC has been going for switch out Palafin and some form of move with the other Mon every single game. So I think this was the one where I got duped by, yeah, by this. But yeah, this was the one where I got bodied thinking it was going to switch out. So this was the rough position here. I didn't think he was going to stay in with Baby Palafin. Yeah, so my other Mons here, I had double Ghost, so I wanted to bring Toxtricity for the Boom Burst shenanigans. But with Cerulege going down, it made it a lot harder. Because I had to get Dragapult out of there since I'm already at -2 and locked into Draco. Alright, yeah, withdrawing the Palafin is fair. I didn't want to give it a free Spore since my Amoonguss was already out. I think in hindsight, I think Rage Powder Switch was the play. Because I was at -2, now I'm at -4, so my Dracos aren't doing anything. And like obviously now I don't want to switch out. I will skip forward a slight bit here. Because Dragapult's just staying asleep. Get the one turn of guaranteed sleep over and done with. And yeah, he's just, he's playing this really well, keeping his bulky Pokemon alive as best as he can. Yeah, I think I need to get Dragapult out of here. So, thinking about my positioning here, let me pause this. Thinking about my positioning here in hindsight, I'm sleep for a turn. Yeah, for a turn. So I have the chance of waking up, but I think the play for this turn, if I'm wanting to get a lot of damage off, I need to... Because the issue is, if it thinks my Dragapult is going to switch out, if DC thinks my Dragapult is going to switch out, he's just going to Spore this slot and my Toxtricity is going to go to sleep. Then there's no way I win. But he's never going to click Spore into this slot, so it's just going to be a lot of switching, possibly, and would be the best play. Would be switching Toxtricity in for Amoonguss instead, and then switching Dragapult back into Amoonguss. Why did he withdraw Amoonguss here? Hero Form. That makes sense. Hero Form Jet Punch hurts. Terra Water especially. Yeah, I was just trying to get all my sleep turns over with, because there's nothing he can really do offensively here. Get a little bit of chip into that, that's fine. Alright. I think I, at this point, have accepted that my Dragapult is more than likely either going to need to be sacked unless I can put the Palafin to sleep. So I'm just fine with waiting for it to wake up at this point. No? Me going for the switch? Hey, we're going for the switch. Alright. So in hindsight, I think I would have waited for it to wake up, especially if I'm putting the Palafin to sleep here. Rage Powder. Okay. I don't mind that. I think that's a good play. Wave Crash into the Amoonguss. It's not going to do a lot unless it crits, because I'm a bulky grass type. Dang. Shouldn't kill still. I have Terra. Yeah, I definitely think this is the play. Because I need to get a swing going. I need to do something. Yeah, that's fair. Get the Regenerator HP back, and then it counters Spore if I'm doing that.
We're going for a Terra here.
Yeah, DC was making really good reads in this set. I love Toxtricity so much. This Mon was my favorite thing going into this this Elite Four. Crit on the Iron Hands and Oko's the Amoonguss is so good for me. And I knew it wasn't going to go for a fighting move because there was no point. It was going for Volt Switch 100% of the time. So I wasn't scared of like Terra Normaling and eating a Drain Punch or anything like that. Yeah, this was a tough position though here because I had burned my Terra on something that can't hit the Flutter Mane, and Shadow Ball has to Oko, and I don't know if it does. I don't remember my calc. But like, if I stay asleep, it doesn't matter. I lose the game anyways. And I know I can't switch into Amoonguss here, because if I switch into Amoonguss, it just dies to my own Boom Burst. Yeah, I have to wake up here or this game's over, 100%.
Next move can change the complexion of everything.
Because I know Toxtricity is getting fake outed. I don't remember why I took so long. The move is very obvious. But Dragapult staying asleep doesn't matter. Yeah, that's the end of the game. Yeah, I think I scoop once that happened. That was 3 turns sleep, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, I scoop that one 100% of the time. I literally cannot kill the Flutter Mane at all.
You have to get there.
Okay, so going into it, I know he always leads. This is game 5. We've done the 4, so I know a general idea of what he's leading. He's always led Palafin, and I've always led Ceruledge. I think all 4 games I've led he's led Palafin in something, and I've led Ceruledge in something. So the conditioning is mostly built around those 2. right? It's, am I going to Terra? Is he going to Terra? Is he going to switch? Or is he going to try to immediately take out my Ceruledge because my Ceruledge puts his Flutter Mane in check? Aside from that, it's how can he deal with Toxtricity as well, and how can we both position our Amoonguses. Also, I thought I was going to see one of them play Torkoal or something, because the person I went against in the finals is a Trick Room player, so I did Akaberry. I regretted this. This should have been Citrus. This was garbage. Didn't proc at all. I should lead Amoonguss Ceruledge here. Yeah. Because I don't think Pachi or Quaquaval are doing anything here.
This is it. This is your last chance to get
Yeah.
in.
Pachi or Quaquaval aren't really doing much here.
Here we go. Last game, boys and girls. Leading with the Palafin Iron Hands, leading with the Amoonguss Ceruledge.
Okay. So with this lead, there's two options. We know Iron Hands can't really do anything into the Ceruledge slot besides Volt Switching. So he's going to fake out the Amoonguss. The issue with that is that means my Amoonguss can't do anything for a turn. I can't put Palafin to sleep. I can't attempt to put Iron Hands to sleep. So it's all on what my Ceruledge is going to do. Because unless he makes a big brain read, I am forced to, unless I or he makes a big brain read, I'm forced to protect Amoonguss. And he is going to fake out into the Amoonguss naturally. So it's all about what the Palafin and what the Ceruledge are going to do. So I'm thinking, do I want to burn my Terra on turn 1 if he's just going to switch out, and then if he switches out into... who else was he bringing? It was Iron Hands, Amoonguss, Palafin, Fluttermane. It puts me in a worse position against Fluttermane, but a better position against the Palafin.
Alright, now, UPR knows what happened to it last time. Happened to the Ceruledge. And it looks like
Yeah, Terra Grass bulk up. I like that. That covers for a switch, that covers for Palafin terraing and wave crashing. And like I said, unless he makes a big brain read, he could have fake outed into my Ceruledge slot, reading the Terra Grass. But why would you do that? just fake out the Amoonguss, make sure nothing gets put to sleep.
Critical hit can't happen. Oh, we're going to Terra the Palafin right away.
And yeah, he did go for the Terra Water on the Palafin for the wave crash on the Ceruledge. But my counterplay, obviously, is that Terra Grass makes sure I'm resistant to the wave crash as well.
Just for situations like this.
Yeah, protect on Amoonguss. We'll see if he uses fake out into that slot. I'm pretty sure he does, though. Fake out into Amoonguss, yeah, so I read that correctly. And I read the Palafin terraing and wave crashing into Ceruledge correctly, which is really good for me. Now I get a bulk up.
That still is doing a lot of damage.
Okay, so now I get the bulk up here, which makes me tankier into both of their current mons. And it means that if he ever gets in a position where it's Fluttermane versus Ceruledge, I win. Because Ceruledge plus a bulk up attack boost O-code his Fluttermane every single time.
But you know my playstyle when it comes to Pokemon. I'm very aggressive.
So
I would hit the Ceruledge.
So since there is no fake out, we know Palafin is unlikely to kill here unless they double up. I can either go for a Rage Powder Bitterblade to heal up this damage, or I could go for another bulk up Pollen Puff and hope I survive both hits. The safer play, obviously, is Rage Powder Bitterblade.
Twice. I would double up on the Ceruledge.
But I could also read the double up on the Ceruledge. Like Vic was saying, go for a Protect and spore the Palafin. The Palafin is the big issue for sure. Well, maybe into this board state, the Palafin isn't the big issue. Especially with that being a thing. Yeah. So this is actually a good play on my part. Close combat would have done a chunk for sure, and now Iron Hands is asleep. And now he has no offensive pressure into a Terra Grass bulk up +1 Bitterblade Cerulege. So his Amoonguss is taking a chunk. Bitterblade. Is that a crit? Was that a crit? No. Oh my god. I built this thing to do some damage. I know I made it pretty bulky too. It was like 230 HP. Yeah, I basically went back to the same HP where I was at, and their Amoonguss is dead, which is huge. And now, if it's the same 4 that he brought from last game, this is Fluttermane. Or no, it could be Palafin as well. Yeah, his Palafin didn't go down. All right, so at 88 HP, math. I was left with 98 from 182 the first time, so it did 84 points of damage. So it is extremely possible that I die on a roll here. So the safe play obviously is to protect Cerulege, Spore Palafin, and then the Iron Hands won't be doing much of anything anyways, since it's asleep, hopefully for another turn. Ooh, Bitterblade is risky. But yeah, Rage Powder Bitterblade isn't bad, because it lets me heal up and then I can try to spore the next turn. Jet Punch. Dank. That did a chunk, but like, not enough to matter. But yeah, doesn't matter if it does a lot. The main thing is I'm keeping Cerulege safe. I'm healing it up. And now he has to worry about a spore into either one of his mons, because Iron Hands has been asleep for 2 turns now, I believe, and Palafin isn't asleep at all. Protect Spore is a very safe play. If I'm not worried about getting O-Code, I could bulk up Spore. Because I think the only way I die here is Iron Hands wake up close combat, and then Palafin Wave Crash. But yeah, the safe play 100% is Spore Protect. I like that. I always try to make the safe plays 100%. Wave Crash going into the slot, knew that, yep. And then Palafin's getting put to sleep. It was a double up! Haha! The read was goated. But yeah, that protecting on that double up there was huge. And then now Iron Hands can't one-shot me, I don't believe, so I can try to just spore it and heal back up. There's the Fluttermane. But well, it has to protect. And I don't know if he knows it, but he has to protect. Yeah, close combat's going to do a little bit. Yeah, it did the same amount as that Wave Crash earlier. Alright, so what do I go for here? I'm
Now we need to
curious.
start making very aggressive plays. If you're DC, things are being scored, and if that Fluttermane gets scored,
Because I think the play is Pollen Puff into, yeah, Pollen Puff into Iron Hands. Or I could have Pollen Puffed into Ceruledge in all honesty, since I'm using Shadow Sneak here. That kills. Yeah,
that kills.
I expected for that.
That killed it. And yeah, those bulk ups from the Ceruledge really helped in killing that Fluttermane.
Honestly, I think the correct play... The fact that that survived is actually pretty good. I mean, it doesn't really matter, because Palafins, it's only one left. But yeah, honestly, I know I'm using Bitter Blade, so it doesn't matter much. Why did I protect here?
My goodness.
Why did I protect here? How much HP was I at?
Aggressive plays. If you're DC,
98.
things are being scored, and if that Fluttermane gets scored too, it will be aggressive plays. If you're DC, things are gonna be hard to kill it.
Why did I use Protect here? I definitely don't think that was the play. I think the play was Pollen Puff Bulk. Yeah, because I effectively wasted a turn. I think I was betting on him getting lucky, which I shouldn't do. In hindsight, I bulk up to give myself +2 in attack and defense since they're both physical attackers, and then I Pollen Puff to heal back up to full health. Dead, then I sweep. Nothing matters after that point.
There's not much that DC can do. We need these Pokemon to start waking up.
Yeah, I think Shadow Sneak is smart here. It's at basically 1 HP just to make sure it doesn't wake up and get off of close combat.
We only have one Pokemon left. The Palafin staring down 2 grass-type Pokemon, and the Palafin stays asleep.
And then yeah, Pollen Puff's huge. I go back up to full health. And
Ceruledge gets healed up to full health
so I'm curious,
again.
do I switch to Toxtricity here?
Yeah,
And he scoops, yeah.
It 3-2.
But yeah, even if, because I still had all 4 of my mons left, even if I, what's the worst possible situation there? He wakes up, Wave Crash outspeeds crits, 1-hit knockouts, but then I have Toxtricity in the back with Choice Specs Overdrive, and Amoonguss is already sporing in that slot, so it really doesn't matter at that point. The game is already wrapped up. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. I know this is a longer, the first video, but I felt like it'd be good to dive into what I'm thinking whenever I go through these VGC games, since I'm fairly new to it. Hopefully I can help out some newer players who are trying to get into it as well. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, major shout out to Vic. I'm going to leave his channel and his original vid for the Elite Four in the description below. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.